Asher, if you look at urban transit in Nigeria today, you see a gridlock heavily dependent on imported gasoline. But cut through that smog, and you'll find the rapid, silent arrival of electric mobility. I'm Daisy. And I'm Asher. Today, we're running a data-driven audit on exactly how Nigeria is formally transitioning into a complete electric vehicle ecosystem in 2026. To understand why this transition is accelerating right now, we have to look back to 2023. The government removed the national petrol subsidy, exposing consumers to the true, volatile cost of fuel. At the macroeconomic level, Nigeria was spending nearly $10 billion every single year just to import refined petroleum. That economic friction forced a policy pivot at the highest levels. President Tinubu officially expanded the presidential initiative on compressed natural gas to include electric vehicles. By formally integrating EVs into the National Clean Mobility Strategy, the administration established them as a tool for fiscal resilience rather than just a luxury concept. We are watching a transition born out of a structural necessity to reduce fuel imports. To see how this is actually taking shape on the ground, we need to audit the raw data behind the vehicles, the infrastructure, and the policies driving the market. This chart tracks the Nigerian EV market's projected growth, from current assembly milestones, like 120 electric BRT buses, to a 2030 national target of 850,000 EVs. But this volume isn't private cars. Commercial micromobility dominates. Electric 2- and 3-wheelers are the primary vehicles for urban commuting. The supply chain providing these vehicles is already established. Major local manufacturers like Innoson, Jet Motor, and CIG are building out physical production lines, operating alongside specialized startups like Ascendance EV and Voltwise Solutions. What we're seeing is a formalization of the supply side. Nigeria is shifting away from importing expensive finished vehicles in favor of localized production pipelines tailored to their own specific roads. Building the vehicles is one part of the challenge, but actually powering them is where the transition meets the reality of the national grid. Infrastructure is currently the sector's most significant bottleneck. This map reveals the infrastructure deficit: fewer than 100 public chargers nationwide, concentrated in Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. Because the national grid is constrained, the private sector is bypassing it. Zooming into Lagos shows this decentralized footprint, planning 250 independent solar-integrated charging points. For the 2- and 3-wheeler market, the solution is even more direct: battery swapping. Operators can pull up to a kiosk and swap a depleted battery for a fully charged one in minutes. Investors are backing this model heavily, with Spiro securing $100 million in funding to expand their regional battery swap network. If you're finding this data breakdown helpful, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Ultimately, Nigerian EV infrastructure is evolving as a decentralized, off-grid network, which sidesteps the reliability challenges of the national utility. So the vehicles are rolling out and off-grid infrastructure is scaling, but the industry is still fragmented. Until recently, startups, legacy manufacturers, and policymakers were often working in isolated silos. To solve this, the industry formed the Electric Mobility Promoters Association of Nigeria, or EMPAN. They act as a central facilitator, unifying separate players to standardize policy frameworks and drive market awareness. We can see their impact at industry events. At PowerLec Nigeria 2026, MPAN is hosting 10 select Nigerian e-mobility startups at a dedicated pavilion, giving local innovators a direct line to global industry leaders and capital. The passage of the 2025 Green Mobility Bill and the manufacturing agreement with South Korea's Asia Economic Development Committee represent the statutory and industrial foundations for a domestic EV supply chain. By prioritizing local assembly and decentralized power, Nigeria is attempting to restructure its transport economy. The goal is to transform a $10 billion annual fuel import bill into a homegrown industrial sector. Thanks for watching.